are your 7 teams doing?
Well, I'm going to be in the playoffs in at least 3 of my 5 leagues.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Oh, good for you.
All right, there you go. You deserve that one. Anyways, proceed.
So, okay, I'm going to be in the playoffs in 3/5 of my leagues.
Yep.
And my performance, however, this past Sunday was just deplorable. I went 1-4. I did awfully. So I totally hit the waiver wire this week and just mixed it up. And we're just going to see, we're going to throw it all against the and see what happens. Because I want that number 1 or 2 seeding bad.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you get a bye in that league?
No.
Or you just get top seed?
Oh, wait, yeah. In a couple of them, I think you get a bye.
Mm-hmm.
But, I'll take a bye. A bye would be good.
All right.
But I really just wanted to play like the weaker teams. That's really all that matters to me.
All right. And in my one league to rule them all, I have a very interesting situation. So 12 teams, 2 divisions. All the good teams are in one division, right? And then basically everyone in my division is 5-7. And I can technically win the division and get in the playoffs and get a bye because the first tiebreaker is division record. And I would have the best division record since all my wins are in division. But also, if I lose, I get the number 1 pick. So I'm either going to be the 2nd seed in the playoffs or have the number 1 pick. It's very interesting how this might work out.
It's very tenuous.
Yeah. And, yesterday I had a couple of guys going. Jordan Matthews, got in the end zone, but that was about it. And also, I traded a bunch of picks for Matt Forte, and then he blah.
Oh, my God, he had 5 points last night.
Yeah.
It was awful. I had him in a couple of leagues because you expected more with this prolific offense of the Bears. I air quoted. You can't see me. But I do like air quotes. I don't care.
It's your bay.
Yeah. So anyway, it's whatever.
Yeah. And I'm basically into winning in, and some other things have to go right. But my opponent's got Aaron Rodgers and Eddie Lacy and Gronk, so it's like gonna be like whatever at this point. Whatevs.
Whatevs. Throw it all to the wind. Just throw all the caution to the wind and just see how it lands. Because who knows? I mean, really, you can start off with the best team ever in the history, and then half of them get hurt, and you're screwed. So it doesn't even matter.
Oh, kind of a funny thing I just realized. So I dropped Cordero last week, and then
Me too.
I dropped Kaepernick this week because
I didn't have him.
I don't like any of his schedule coming up. And so I officially have 0 players that I drafted still on my roster.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and it's a 3 keeper league too, so that's even more intriguing.
Wow, that's really interesting. How does that even happen?
A lot of churning, a lot of wheeling and dealing. I probably suck at drafting. Is part of it.
Well, maybe. I'm a good drafter, but you can't really predict injuries for a lot of these players. So,
And speaking of predicting injuries, RG3, who has had many of them in his day because he runs like a little baby deer, benched for Colt McCoy this Sunday as Washington takes on the Indianapolis Colts at Indy. Seems to be an interesting spot. Do you think he's going to be back in 2015 in Washington?
RG3?
Yes.
Nah. They don't get along. Jay Gruden and staff has already basically banned his family from all the perks they enjoyed as being the people who gave birth to their future. And so it kind of makes you think probably not really in the plans for the future.
Seems kind of quick, though, that he's still on his rookie deal. They can pick up his 5th-year option this offseason. They probably won't, but he's still on their contract for next year. Maybe they move him to try and get some value, I guess.
Right, and I could see them moving him because there are teams who, let's be honest, half of the teams, at least in the NFL, have a quarterback that's below average, right?
RG3 to the Texans, bringing on home to Texas, baby. Because what part of Texas is he originally from? I know he went to Baylor, but where did he go to high school?
That's a good question. I forget because I knew this at one point in time. I forget. I think he's local to Houston. Am I wrong? He might be local to Houston.
Ooh.
Yeah. So, Griffin, not Griffith. That doesn't mean anything. You don't know what I'm talking about.
Isn't Ryan Griffin like a 4-string tight end on the Texans too?
No.
Ryan Griffin?
There is Garrett Graham. Oh, wait, Ryan Griffin. Yeah, sorry, he is. You're right. I'm sorry. I was getting confused.
It's like he played at UConn?
One of my questions to you had to do with a player whose name was somewhat similar. So quit digging for answers, smarty pants.
Okay. But RG3 been disappointed as a whole in Washington. He did make the playoffs as a rookie in 2012. But overall, 13-20 as a starter in the regular season, and only 4-14 since that playoff run in 2012.
Hey, and let me tell you this: he attended Copperas Cove High School, which is up near Dallas. So,
Oh, RG3 to the Cowboys. How much would he love to stay in division and stick it to Washington twice a year?
Yeah, but Tony Romo.
Tony might retire. Maybe Jerry goes to Tony and is like, Tony, you're back in right. How about you retire and give you a little piece of the stadium? Or some of those under-the-table deals that that get made all the time.
Yeah, you want to be like the Cowboy alumnus head ambassador to the fans sort of job. That, could be. Because maybe they're saying, hey, man, if you can just get us through this season, get us into the playoffs, and take us somewhere, we'll ceremoniously dub you the most important Cowboy of the last decade, which he kind of is, I guess.
And now, do you think that if he doesn't work out in Washington and doesn't pan out anywhere else in his NFL career, do you think he's going to be considered a bigger bust than Ryan Leaf? They're both number 2 picks, but considering how much Washington gave up to get him 3 number 1s and a number 2?
And let's really look at this. I mean, because Washington has dug themselves a hole, and that's not answering your question. I'm sorry. I don't think he will because he doesn't seem to be as self-destructive as Ryan Leaf is. Because Ryan Leaf with the drug problems and everything else, whatever. But look at what Washington gave up to get him. Not only look at the fact that they took Kirk Cousins in that same draft to presumptively be his backup. Look what they did to Kirk Cousins also during this whole entire situation. And the fact that they now have 2 quarterbacks on their roster who potentially could be starting for teams who are now on their bench in favor of Colt McCoy. And the fact that they don't have draft picks. Look at what they've given up. They have dug themselves a hole of huge proportions.
Yeah, they're pretty much up against it. And what St. Louis has done with those 3 number 1s and number 2, through various trades, they've ended up with 8 players got listed here. Michael Brockers, pretty solid defensive tackle. Janoris Jenkins, contributor at cornerback. Isaiah Peed, I don't even think he's on the team anymore. Or maybe he's on IR, but hasn't done much as a second-round running back. Something called Rocavius Watkins, who's no longer in the league. Alec Ogletree, one of their starting linebackers. Stedman Bailey, he's starting to come on as a wide receiver. Zach Stacy, who's had his moments, not so much anymore. And then the number 2 overall pick this year, the last of the haul, Greg Robinson, the all-world offensive tackle from Auburn, who hasn't really found his place yet, but give it time. But still, that's not a bad haul for a guy who turns out might not be panning out as an NFL quarterback.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's a mess, and I don't know what's going to happen with any of this.
And speaking of mess and not knowing what's going to happen, some trades and some signings that we want to see. Yeah! All right, so I went definite hot fire on this. So, Claire, if yours are pretty vanilla, I can make up for it.
Make up for me, because mine are. I didn't realize that this was in general NFL. I thought you just meant like to benefit the team that we personally love. So that kind
no,
of made
that's
it
fine.
about me.
Hey, it can be all Texans trades too, because my first one is Vikings related. Adrian Peterson is traded to the Cowboys for 5 number 1s and 3 number 2s.
Oh.
And by that I mean I would
whom?
I would be fine getting a second round pick for Adrian.
To whom?
To Dallas. Hello.
Hello.
You know what's happening. You know what's up. Jerry Jones
Really?
can't help himself. Oh, yeah. They're going to run DeMarco into the ground, let him walk as a free agent, and bring in Texas's favorite son, Adrian Peterson, even though he went to Oklahoma.
Yeah, he kind of shunned the whole state at that moment.
What's he going to do? Go to Houston? Go to Rice?
Well, at least it's in state. At least you can understand
Texas State? North Texas? UTEP?
How do you know all these Texas universities? Texas State is like nothing university.
UTEP is where running back Joe Banyard is from, who actually might be starting on Sunday because McKinnon's back is hurt. And also UTEP used to be Texas Western, which is famous for Glory Road. Don Haskins winning the first national title with the All-Black starting 5. No big deal.
Oh. Well, that's just really a lot to remember.
Also, North Texas is just cool because they're the mean green. Come on.
Yeah, and they're in Denton. Denton is a great place for music, which was my main deal when I was in college. So, I don't know.
Really, the nerdy kid growing up got into music as an adult, Claire. Really?
I did.
So
I did. I wanted all the music that people didn't know about.
Damn it, we all right, so next week we need to come up with more of those fake band names because I think we're starting to get on a roll there.
Oh, but you were really good at that. See, and I am good at making fun of things and being sarcastic
and cackling.
I'm good at those things. But I'm not good with creativity, with things that require outside the box thinking.
Speaking of creativity, my next trade, RG3 to the Jets for a second round pick. RG3 just seems like the most Jet quarterback ever. It seems like
he does. He seems like a Jet fit. I could see him fitting in there in New York.
I see. The thing that's going to save his life, though, is that Rex isn't going to be the head coach. Hopefully, they'll get an offensive mind there. Otherwise, Rex will just ruin him.
Well, Rex isn't going to be the coach, right?
No, Rex is gone.
We've already figured this out.
Gone.
So, I don't know. I could see him being there with whomever the future is. Woody Johnson seems to know what's up there. Whatever.
All right, so my next one is also Jets related because I feel like the Jets are going to be the ones that open to wheel and deal. They already traded for Percy and they showed that they're not afraid. Isaac might need to make some moves to save his job, otherwise he won't have a job to trade picks for anyways. Next one, if they can't get RG3. Johnny Manziel to the Jets, straight up, for Mo Wilkinson.
Oh. Now, explain how you arrived at this.
All right, so Mo Wilkerson is a 2011 draft pick. I believe he's a second-round pick, so he's on his last year of his rookie contract, no fifth-year option. Actually, I might have that completely backwards. Anyways, they're going to look to move him, maybe put him a franchise tag and then trade him like the Patriots did with Matt Castle back in the day. Mike Pettin used to be a defensive coordinator of the Jets, so they have some history going back. And he basically runs the same defense with Cleveland as they do in New York. Be easy peasy fit. Cleveland, I think they're kind of over Manziel, and Pettin, reading between the lines, is definitely over him. And so why not send him to Broadway, Johnny? It doesn't even matter who the head coach is. Just let him play schoolyard ball with Percy, with Decker. It would be good times.
It could be, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's going to need an offensive line that can give him time. Let's be real, because Johnny Manziel needs to improvise. I mean, the way he is able to improvise, he needs all the time in the world. But, yeah. It wouldn't be crazy. I've heard a lot of thoughts on him going to a variety of teams because of maybe a lot of those thoughts I think have come via you though.
Yeah,
let's be honest.
I think I said he was going to Tampa last week, so I changed my mind.
I think he did. I know. I was about to throw that one out there. I was like, oh, wait a second. No, that came from Andy, so it makes no sense to.